What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of MMA Now. I'm the host, Nico Pierce. Feel free to follow us on MMA Now podcast on Instagram. There's no Twitter right now, but you can follow me, Nico_Pierce. That's also my personal Instagram. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all this stuff. Please rate, subscribe us. A little breakdown of how this podcast is going to go. I'm going to try to do about once a week, breaking down all the fights coming up, whether it's UFC, Bellator, Ryzen, One Championship, whatever it is. As the time goes on, maybe I'm going to try to get you some events, maybe do some post-fight interviews, pre-fight interviews, see what I can do. Things are a little bit weird with COVID right now, not a whole lot of local events going on, but we'll see what's up. I'm located in LA. You can go down, as you guys know, some of the best fight camps down in San Diego, Orange County, a little up north, up in Sacramento. Vegas is not that far. Arizona's not that far. So we'll see what's going to happen in the future. But for right now, we're just going to break down some fights, preview some things, see how this goes, feel it out, Let's start off with what's coming up for this upcoming year. As we all know, in January, right off the bat, we got 3 cards in 8 days, We got the UFC on ABC, headlined by Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar. And then a couple days later, on Wednesday, we also have a fight, Michael Chiesa, Neil Magny. And then that Saturday is going to be UFC 257, which is Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, too. A couple notes. Since, December's pretty busy, we had a lot of good fight cards then. But since then, a couple different things changed. On the platform side, pay-per-views are going to be going up $5 a piece. They're going up from $64.99 to $69.99. All indication kind of leads to it's not the UFC's decisions all. It's all the mouse. It's Disney, it's ESPN. ESPN itself gained a lot of subscriptions last January, when McGregor fought Cerrone. McGregor's fighting again this January. Prices are going to go up. Subscriptions are going to go up. It's more money for the mouse. And on that note, ESPN Plus subscriptions for new subscribers are actually going to go up 20%. Raising from $49.99 to $59.99 per year. And, if any of you guys like me, big football fans too, next week, a lot of big stuff, This week we're in the first week of the playoffs in the NFL. Next week we also got, 2 more great weeks of football. But the UFC and ABC, they're going to slide in early. They got so that UFC main card is going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern time, noon West Coast time. First live event ever on ABC. It's a big deal. They haven't been on national TV since December 2018. Let me double check that. Yeah. And that's when they were on Fox. That contract's obviously up. Let's go with that. And then what else we got coming up? UFC's first 3 fights, they're going to be over at Fight Island. And then it's going to be the first time in a long time there's going to be a limited amount of fans there. Obviously, overseas, a little more leniency, especially over in Abu Dhabi. So the UFC's getting some fans, going to get some more money. It's going to be a good time. Let's get into these fights, kind of just going to go over the main card. These first 2 cards, the 2 fight nights, not as stacked as we like. There's going to be a lot of exciting fights for the fight fan, but for the casual fan, not a lot of names you're gonna know, but it's gonna be a good one. So if you start breaking it down into the main card, it's against 2 guys coming off the Contender Series. You got you got Punahele Serrano and Dusko Todorovic. Serrano is currently 6-0 career-wise. He fought through, like I said, he fought through Dana White's Contender Series. Both of them did. Both of them are actually 1-0 in the UFC. they have the potential to be some big household names. Dana White's Contender Series has been doing a pretty good job. They found Sean O'Malley, Kevin Holland, a bunch of other people. Macy Barber. So, they're doing a good job on that show. But besides that, prospects, on like Tapology, they're both ranked high 30s, high 50s. Like, Vegas has Serrano at a plus 130. He's probably, I don't know. It's a toss up. Not really sure who's going to win. But, Vegas, honestly, if any of you guys follow football, those over-unders or, the cover, Vegas ain't wrong often, so Serrano's probably a better pick for you guys if you're trying to bet on these fights. And then after that, we got Aliso de Turco versus Joaquin Buckley. If you guys followed any of the UFC last year, Buckley was pretty busy in 2020. He fought 3 times, with his only loss coming to Kevin Holland back in August. And as we know, Kevin Holland was a motherfucker last year. He went 5-0, as many people have him as the most, as like their fighter of the year, most improved fighter. Like, he's doing fantastic. But then if you look at Buckley, like his last 4 victories are by KO, TKO, and then his opponent, Chirco, he's 3-5 in the UFC. He lost the last 3. It's not looking so good. Buckley is the favorite with a minus 278. He's the favorite for a reason. I can see Buckley going in there for a knockout. Look for a finish. That's gonna be a safe bet. And then after that, you got Santiago. Oh boy. You got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Li Shilang. So Pons for short. He's 9-2 in the UFC. He's on a 7-fight win streak, but he hasn't fought in 2 years because of an injury. And his last fight's actually against next week's headliner, Neil Magny. His opponent lost to Magny back in March and is coming as the underdog. Pons is he's a favorite, minus 265, and it's for a good reason. He has a pretty good. Even though he had a 2-year layoff, he's had a pretty good run in the UFC, 9-2. Like, look for him to go in there and finish as well. Then the co-main headline fight is going to be Carlos Condit and Max Holloway. This fight has been scheduled and rescheduled multiple times, going all the way back to 2013. And in that time, in that period, Condit has gone 3-8. He snapped his losing streak back in October versus Court McKee. At the same time, Matt Brown has gone 6-6. Both guys are older. Brown is 39. Condit is 36. Condit is a minus 155 favorite, which is basically even. Brown has 3 losses. Brown's last 3 losses have been by KO, TKO. His chin's not there. Didn't look too impressive in his last fight. But Matt Brown, you never count him out. He is a good underdog bet. That's really a toss-up. You guys do what you want to do. Now, for the headliner, I had him, headliner's going to be a good one, man. Max Holloway is a lot better than his last 4 fights show. He lost the interim lightweight belt over the Dustin Poirier. He moved up a weight class and he looked small. Dustin has cut a lot of weight. Max doesn't normally cut a lot of weight anyways to get to 145. And Dustin's big for 155. His fight versus McGregor was originally scheduled for 170. And then Khabib's, retired. So they went down to 155, hoping, it'll be a title fight, but Dana's still waiting for Khabib. But we'll see what happens with that. We'll talk about that later. But, Dustin's a bigger guy. He cuts to 155. He looks big. He looked a lot bigger than Max Holloway. Dustin's stronger, too. He lost by unanimous decision, but he looked good in that fight. And then after he lost to Dustin, he beat up Frankie Edgar. We all know Frankie Edgar's a beast, and those, and Frankie's got a fucking chin on him. He's got a fight versus Cody Sandhagen coming up. That's gonna be a very close one. But Max and Frankie, they win 25 minutes. Tough fight. But then, he has 2 straight losses against Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski, he's a big fucking dude, Back in the day, he was a rugby player, weighed around 200, 215, and now he cuts down to 145 since he got the MMA. Him and Max, when, they had wars 25 minutes each, all 5 rounds. Max lost the first one by unanimous decision and the second one by split decision. A lot of people, including myself, thought Max won them both. And this is one of those tough ones because, there's that mentality. If you want to be the champion, you gotta beat the champion. And, these decisions were, they were whatever. A lot of people were calling for a third fight, a trilogy fight between the two of them. Max is when he loses, when he wins, he's chill, he's happy, he's the same guy. He's like, nah, I'm gonna fight someone else. Let Volkanovski defend the belt. He's gonna come back, And this fight versus Calvin, this could be the fight to get him back to the title belt if he wants it. What else we got here? Yeah, but also to go back in the trilogy fight, I have in my notes. I just have Max only 29. He seems a lot older. He's been fucking dominant his whole career, which is 6, 7, 8 years now. Volkanovski's 32. They'll meet up in the future. No shame about that. So, Max is no longer focusing on that. He's got number 6, Calvin Kattar, to worry about. Calvin's fighting out of that New England cartel, which has the likes of Rob Font, who won last month, to a devastating KO to Marlon Moraes. Calvin is coming off 2020, in which he beat Dan Ige and KO Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens, if I remember correctly, came in overweight. And usually, some betting tips, most times when someone comes overweight, statistically, they're going to win that fight. Now, that hasn't happened, Calvin has beat Jeremy Stevens despite that odds. And that happened with Max, too. Yeah, that happened with Max when Max fought Anthony Pettis. Pettis came in overweight, so when they fought for the belt, Pettis was not eligible for the belt. So, there's that statistic if you guys want to look at it in the gambling side, but these two guys are motherfuckers, and they're just a scrap. And, Calvin, he's 6-2 in the UFC. But he has this weird streak. It's 2 wins, a loss, 2 wins, a loss. Now he's won 2 in a row. The odds are pretty much even, with Holloway as the favorite of a -167. And I can see Calvin, I don't know, here's the thing. I love Max. I love Calvin too. They're both great fighters. But I'm going to make a prediction on this. I think I'm going to go with Max continuing that streak for Calvin. 2 wins, 1 loss. So I think Max is going to get the win here. But it's even. So don't, you never know what's going to happen. These guys are monsters. You never know what's going to happen. Besides that, it's going to be January 16th. It's going to be this Saturday. A little preview, I'll go into more details next week. But, UFC Fight Night, we got Magny and Chiesa. They're, Chiesa, and he hasn't, what's his record over the last couple fights? Let me get you his record. I haven't done the research yet, just because I just want to do a quick because the first fight card's pretty short. But Chiesa's on a 3-fight win streak, but he's fought people like Carlos Condit, Diego Sanchez, and Rafael Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos coming off a big win off of Paul Felder, but when it comes to some elite people, Chiesa's lost to Pettis and Lee, so who knows what happened. Magny's also He's a motherfucker. He's gonna be tough as nails too. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, but he's also fought people like Robbie Lawler and Robbie Lawler. He's getting older for sure, for sure. So we'll see what's gonna happen. That's coming up, and then we got Poirier, McGregor. They're fighting the following Saturday at UFC 257. Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler is going to be there as well. This is Chandler's UFC debut. He's coming. He was the Bellator champion for a while. Pretty good background coming from wrestling. I think he was in the Olympics. I'll find out for you guys. But Dan Hooker's wrestling is his weakness. He's a stand. He has to stand there and just bang it out. If you watch the fight he did with Poirier, that's exactly what you got. So you know what's going to happen. Hooker's a little younger. He's got in my opinion, he's feisty. He's got a little more energy. We never know with Chandler. Then you got Jessica Eye, Joanne Calderwood, and you got Khalil Roundtree. You got a bunch of other people fighting. It's going to be a good card. I'll break that down next week. But, the big focus obviously is Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, which I'll do a bigger breakdown next week. But what I'm going to just give you guys my opinion, and what's bugging me is, as far as I'm aware, as far as like Khabib's trainers are aware, his teammates, all that stuff, Khabib's retired. His trainer, I can't remember his last name. The trainer's Javier. And they fight out of he's out of AKA up in Sacramento, no, San Jose, and he fights up there in DC. And according to his trainer, his coach, Khabib has not approached him. It's like, hey, I'm done. He's not done that. That's why despite what he's saying publicly, Dana White thinks there's still a shot that he might come back. But we'll see how that goes. I think Dana, he came out a couple times and said if Conor wins, he wants to set up Conor versus Khabib, but he's not saying those things about Dustin. So Conor's last few fights, his record in the past couple years has not been to the same caliber as Dustin Poirier, especially since the rematch. So we'll see what's gonna happen. Because outside of McGregor, Poirier, the Hooker Chandler fight, you also have Oliveira and Gaethje. Like those two guys are ready to go. Both of them had very impressive wins over Tony Ferguson. It'd be nice to see the two of them fight. But we'll see what happens. Khabib's still the champion for right now, and he hasn't vacated the belt, so we'll see. There's gonna be a lot of good fights coming up. We got some title fights down the line. Let me see what we got. UFC 258. Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns. We'll see what's going to happen with that. Usman fought once or twice last year. I don't remember. I'll get you guys that. But his last fight obviously was over Jorge Masvidal. And honestly just clinched and beat the shit out of him. Gilbert Burns on a winning streak. Got a lot of momentum going into the fight. He's going to take on short notice. Their teammates. They were going to I don't know if Gilbert's jiu-jitsu is better than Usman's wrestling. We'll see. We'll see what is coming out of the camps. Usman trains pretty hard. There's videos that Gaethje's trainer, Coach Trevor Whitman, has posted where Usman was training with Gaethje to get him ready for the Khabib fight, and man, they were just 100% sparring. It was some good stuff. I'm not sure if it's still on his Instagram. You guys can check that out if it is. It's probably on YouTube. You know how people are. But the big fight cards coming up is March 6th. We got three title fights. We got Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling. Yan has been recently spotted over at ATT, American Top Team down in Coconut Creek, Florida. Where you get like Poirier comes out of there, Amanda Nunes comes out of there, Paige Van Zandt. There's a lot of fighters on ATT, and he's fighting Aljamain Sterling. Well deserved, nice submission. I believe submission win. he fought Cody Sandhagen, and how did that go? Submission, rear naked choke. Yeah, that was on a good card last year. We'll see. But then after that, you got probably one of the most dominant champs the UFC's ever seen, and Amanda Nunes. She's fighting off against Megan Anderson. There's a lot of talks that if and when Amanda wins this fight, they might just scrap the featherweight division. If you go on the UFC's website, check out their rankings. Amanda Nunes is listed as champ. There's no one underneath it. So who knows what's going to happen with that. Dana White's came out and said that they're exploring the idea of a UFC Atomweight division, which I believe is like 115. But we'll see. We'll see. Goes with that. The UFC's got the 3 fights over in Abu Dhabi. Then they're coming back. They've already applied for licenses for pretty much all the fights that they got. They've announced they're in works right now with the Las Vegas Athletic Commission to get those going. But then the headline, that fight, if 2 championships was enough, the third one's going to be John Bohovich versus Israel Adesanya. I'm not too crazy about this fight. Not for the fact that the fight's going to be fun, but I'm one of those believers that, here's the thing, John just won the championship versus Dominic Reyes a few months ago. He hasn't defended at all. Moving Israel up, it's weird to me because I know if you can move Israel up, if he wins the belt, he might defend it once or twice, and then he might vacate the middleweight belt, and then Israel's younger. He is 31. A lot of people believe no matter what sport it is, you get into your athletic prime between 30, 33, 34. Depends on the sport. So, as he's getting older, does he want to eventually chase that John Jones fight? Does he want to put on that extra weight, vacate the 185 belt, kind of get himself up to 205 on a cut, naturally walk around 220, 230? We'll see, but I would like to see Jean defend the belt a couple of times before you have a super fight, Glover Teixeira, he's a little older. I think he's 41, 42, 43, something like that. He's a clear-cut number 1 contender. He's not getting any younger. I would like to see Jean fight against him. Maybe fight against someone else coming up. Light heavyweight division is a little depleted. John Jones ran through that for years. But I would like to see Jean get at least 1 or 2 defenses in before you start bringing on these super fights. Especially and then I don't what the UFC is doing with Israel is weird because Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles, he's the clear cut number 1. He lost the belt. He's beat 2. He's won 2 fights. He should he is the clear cut number 1, but they don't want to give him the title fight. So we'll see what they're gonna do. Dana White says that Whittaker's got 1 more fight, but we'll see what happens. That's kind of about it. We won't get too much in the breakdowns. We'll keep this first episode short. Just kind of figuring things out. You guys can go. Probably have the website up. I gotta check today. Honestly, I should have done it yesterday. But it is MMA Now Podcast.com. There's gonna be a little area you can submit questions. I'll answer them. That's the best of my knowledge. So like I said earlier, I'm gonna try to do this once a week. Try to do things start going well, things start rolling. I'm gonna try to do a lot more. I'm gonna try to do a lot of YouTube content. I'm gonna interview some people, maybe bring in some guests once a week. I'm gonna feel it out, see what the people want, and we'll see. A little bit more about me. Since I moved out to LA, started training, kind of lose this a little bit, lose some weight. But I've been training in jiu-jitsu, a little bit of Muay Thai. Had to put that on the back burner just because of COVID. Can't financially afford to miss some time off of work. So, and as many of you guys probably know, just from seeing what's going on in the world, that government really isn't stepping in. But we don't need to get into that. So, I'll keep you guys, once I get back in the gym, I'll keep you guys updated. Just a white belt right now, trying to go through that grind, just like many of you guys probably are too. That's probably going to be it, guys. Check me out. I'm going to try to do this every Monday. I know we're a little late this week. No, you guys don't know. First episode. Many of you guys probably won't even hear this anyways. I'm just a little late this week. Yesterday I woke up. Nasty sinus infection, so we all good now. We'll see what's up. That's about it for right now, guys. Just follow me. Follow the podcast. We're going to keep it short, and that's about it. Alright, you guys have a good one.